Hello, my beautiful Barça babies, and welcome to another episode of Wake Up and Barça, live Barcelona news coming at you right here from the Undefeated channel. Welcome to the culés from around the world. Big exciting news after Barcelona's big win, a clean sheet away from home against Atletico Madrid. Dembele getting the goal, giving us the 1-0 victory, maintaining first place, and giving us a little bit of breathing room against Real Madrid. So we'll be talking about the good, the bad, and the Barça in a full match review from Atletico Madrid 0, Barcelona 1. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and kick things off the right way, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuning in to the undefeated Mustache John.
All right, hello again and welcome. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel so you can be part of the conversation while we go over the match review for Atletico Madrid, Barcelona. Again, Barcelona maintaining their number one spot, top of La Liga. Very exciting stuff. Before we get into any of that, though, do me the favor, show me some love and support. If you're enjoying the content, whether you've been here since day one or you're just finding us now here today, take a moment to drop a like. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you tap that screen, make those hearts scroll up and down. If you want the full experience, if you're watching on TikTok, you want all the glitz and the glamour, the bells and whistles, swipe over, click the link in my profile. That will get you over to the Undefeated Mustache John YouTube channel, which is where you all are. You're in the right place, my friends, for what is going to be a full match review. Like I said, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and then we'll get caught up on what's going on with the Stash Squad, the undefeated community. But first, let's start off here with a quote from a good friend of the channel, one of the engine room boys, Pablo Wolves Blanco, sharing, "I always say that we don't win enough in big games under Xavi. Tonight we won a huge one. Big fight from the team, no complaints from me. Amen to that." I echo Pablo's sentiments there. Sometimes we don't show up in those big matches, but we did it. We did it this Sunday, 1-0 away from home. Huge victory for Barcelona. In fact, been doing this defensively all season long. Barcelona conceded the least amount of goals in all of Europe's top 5 leagues with only 6. That's absolutely incredible and shocking. Shocking to think that we are no longer in Champions League. I hate to throw a wet blanket on that, but just incredible. And then one more thing before we get into the stats, the overview of the match. A stat shared here from Barça Center. Ousmane Dembele has scored the go-ahead goal for Barça in crucial fixtures against Real Sociedad, Athletic Club, Inter, and now Atletico. Is he a big game player? We're going to start with that, actually, before we get into the full review, including the good, the bad, and the Barça. Let's start with that question right there. Is Ousmane Dembele a big-time player? I want to know your thoughts. If you're watching this on replay, let me know down in the comments. If you're watching this on TikTok, or if you're watching this live on YouTube, start the conversation there. I'm going to say hello to the Stash Squad, see how everybody's doing, and then I would love to know your thoughts on the question, is Ousmane Dembele a big match player? Let's see here, folks. Let's see who we got. Paul, hello and welcome, sir. Grimash, hello. Nishit, welcome. Harry as well. That's Fire is in the house. How we doing, folks? Harry says, as long as Dembele isn't the mustache man of the match, that's the main thing. Why are we not wanting Dembele to be the man of the match? Just curious. Not saying he will be, but I'm just curious. That's Fire says, once again, great referee. I thought the ref actually did a pretty good job in the match against Atletico with things kind of firing off there, especially towards the end. A couple of red cards. We'll discuss that in detail here in just a little bit. Who else we got? Ayush, of course, AA captain. How we doing, sir? Hope your day's going well. Hope, it's... Ayush, is it like 1 in the morning for you right now? How late is it? Staying up late, burning that midnight oil. Gareth Bale retires. Nishit, I see you dropping some Bale stats. We might talk about that if there's time. We'll see. Nishit saying, what a save by Ter Stegen. We'll talk about that as well. Burnsy, hello. How you doing? And welcome. Anthony Works, good to see you. Good afternoon. Grimmer says, I don't think so, responding to the question of, is Dembele a big-time player? I don't think so. He's very hit or miss. We all know that. Dembele has to stabilize the form to be a big-time player. It's a fair point. I mean, I'm thinking about matches against Bayern Munich. I'm thinking about Inter Milan. I'm thinking about those Champions League fixtures. I would say he is a big-time La Liga player. That would be my thought so far. Ovi, how we doing, sir? Says, good Ter Stegen, bad Kessié, Barça Araujo, man of the match Dembele. Okay, Ovi making the case for Dembele to get the mustache man of the match. We're going to get to that. We'll see. There's a few different candidates. There was a lot that was good about this match, a little bit that was bad. Definitely a few candidates for the Barça box and the mustache man of the match. So we'll see. We're going to do a full overview. We'll take a look at some stats. Then we'll get to the good, the bad, the Barça. Sail Row, how we doing? Welcome to the chat. Ayush says it's only 12:40, studying till 5 to 6, and then you have an exam. How are you studying till 5 or 6 in the morning? That's insane, Ayush. You gotta get rest, my man. Gotta get some rest. Anyway, TikTokers, again, if you want the full experience, swipe over, click the link in my profile. That'll get you over to the YouTube page. You can see all the glitz and glamour there. The Hat Kid, welcome back, sir, says, I liked the defense yesterday. Christensen is such an underrated player. Araujo is a beast. Yes to all of that. Well said, sir. Harry giving Ayush some well wishes and some good luck. Absolutely, I echo that as well. Let's go ahead and jump over, folks, to the match overview for Atletico Madrid Barcelona. Of course, Barcelona getting the lone goal from Ousmane Dembele in the 22nd minute, set up from Gavi after some clever play from Pedri, noticing that there was no real pressure around him in the midfield, so he cuts through 2-3 players, leaves it to Gavi, who digs it out. Just a little shoulder push there, a little shoulder charge, I should say, to get the space he needed to dig out the pass to Dembele, who took care of business. Late in the match, extra time, 2 minutes past the 90-minute mark, we had Stefan Savic and Ferran Torres get into a schoolyard tanglement that we'll talk about during the good, the bad, and the Barça. It was pure silliness, pure nonsense, away from the ball. Didn't need to happen, but it did. 2 players sent off. Match ended with 10v10. Really didn't impact things. 1-0 for Barcelona. We stay top of the table. And let's actually start there. If we just jump all the way down to the bottom there, we'll take a look at the match stats in just 1 second. But I want to point out Barcelona, first team in La Liga to get to 40 points. We are sitting at 41, 3 ahead of Real Madrid at 38, who lost over the weekend to Villarreal. We do have a lot of tough fixtures here in January, so Barcelona needed a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of breathing space for this early winter window here. And then, of course, we got Real Madrid coming up in mid-March. So Atletico Madrid drop into 5th. Barcelona get a little bit of breathing room in 1st place. I like those results. If we take a look at what happened on the pitch, 20 shots for Atletico. Got to say that's too much. Even though we had a tremendous defensive effort, and I will be singing the praises of our defense here for most of this stream, 20 shots is a lot. 5 on target, not so bad. We could deal with it. On our side, not that impressive, actually. 10 shots, only 2 on target. Tactically, I like what Xavi did, but execution-wise, there's some room for improvement. We'll talk about that next. Possession, 60% possession. I like that. Actually low on the passes, 634. We're usually up around 800 even. 85% passing accuracy is low for Barcelona. We are typically 89, 90%. You dip below 87% passing and you know something's a little bit off for Barcelona. So in this case, Atletico Madrid, tough opponent, gritty midfield. Thankfully, they didn't play DePaul because it could have been worse for Barcelona. But we got 3 points, did what we needed to do despite the red card, despite 3 yellow cards, only 4 corners for the Blaugrana, but we're doing what we need to do, folks. So like I said, Barcelona still in 1st place. Very exciting stuff. And that gets us to where we want to talk about the good, the bad, and the Barça from Atletico Madrid 0, Barcelona won. Let's first discuss what was good. I mentioned already Pedri really being the creator, the setup man of the goal. Noticing that although there were 2-3 players around him, they weren't really pressing. They weren't really on the same page of who was actually marking Pedri. So little dip of the shoulder, little speed burst, finds himself some space, drops it off to Gavi, who sets up Dembele. All that was fantastic. Shout out to the entire back line for getting the clean sheet, as well as Ter Stegen. Had some big saves. We had Balde, Christensen, Araujo, Koundé, all working together through most of that match. I know we had some substitutions late on, but through most of that match, that back four, along with Ter Stegen, was absolutely incredible. I also want to give a shout out to Xavi for his tactics. Let's actually take a moment and jump over and look at what he was actually doing with his lineup here, because right off the bat, if you were here for the live stream, there was a surprise that we had all four of our midfield options with Pedri, Gavi, De Jong, and Busquets in the starting 11. Did not see this coming. Traditionally, or historically, I should say, when you see a lineup like that, it's because Pedri or Gavi will be out wide left. But this time, you saw Gavi really commanding that number 10 role. Again, nobody tell Coutinho that we're using that tactic right now. But Gavi was drifting in really behind Ansu, inside of Dembele, but very much a part of that attacking line. Pedri a little bit more on the defensive responsibilities, but taking up space on the left side, but not left wing. Not left wing. You had Frankie and Busquets playing in behind them. You had Ansu playing a bit centrally here, with Dembele keeping the width on the wide right side, and then that left space for Balde when we had the ball to push forward. And this really turned in to more of a 3-2-2-3 formation when we were on the ball. Again, 4 midfielders, a surprise tactic by Xavi, but loving what he did with this. I mean, genius, tactical genius. He knows that if we went with the traditional 4-3-3, that's going to leave too much space in the midfield, particularly when Atletico push forward with their wingbacks. Molina on one side, especially World Cup winner, he's going to be dangerous. So you give a little bit of support in that midfield. You have your best defenders, Koundé and Christensen and Araujo, commanding that back line on the counterattack. You have Frankie and Busquets in there to disrupt through the midfield. Loving it. Loving what I was seeing from Xavi. So well done, Xavi, on the tactics. But I will say this match, the Barça box, does go to Gavi for his tremendous effort, for his tenacity. Very close to the Barça box, I'll say. I was going back and forth. I was switching people around, but sticking with my guns here. Gavi, great effort, good effort, I should say, gets the good box for this match. Now, switching over to what was bad about this match. There wasn't a lot. Wasn't a lot bad at all. But one of the things that I have to point out, hate to even do it. Hate to do it. But Ferran Torres for this nonsense red card. Absolute silliness. Just, you know what I'm saying? And in the referee's book, he's going to have to write up that it was a red card for hair pulling. It's not shown here in the pictures, but basically this collar grip that he had on Savic started out with a nice little scalp pull. So as a gentleman with long hair, I was personally offended by this tactic by Ferran Torres. It's late in the match. You don't know if Savic is going to get sent off himself. So to start out with a hair pull that leads to almost getting Ezekiel choked, if you're familiar with MMA or jiu-jitsu in particular, Savic here just needed to hook that right arm around his shoulder and then press in just a little bit more. That's going to take both sides of his neck there, cut off the blood flow. Anyway, I digress. You get what I'm saying? Silliness from Ferran Torres gets him in the bad box. Didn't play to his performance, I should say, did not get him in the bad box. It's just this silliness right here with the red card. And now he's got to miss a match. You know what I'm saying? We're already short on left wingers. Memphis might have one foot out the door already. Ansu Fati Not quite up to the Ansu Fati that we've been waiting on. And now Ferran Torres getting himself a red card. For that, good sir, get in the box. Wipe that clean. Wipe that clean, because now we're going to talk about what was Barça. Back to positive things. Again, Gavi up for the debate for the Barça box. Was certainly a candidate for the Barça box. But we had some other top performances. I could have honestly given this to just about anybody in the back line. A clean sheet away from home against a formidable opponent, like I said. So Ter Stegen, Balde, Christensen, Araujo, Koundé, any of them could have gotten the Barça box. But I do want to pay some special recognition to Dembele. I know some of you may have been thinking I was going to overlook him. I know that he probably could have had more than one goal, but the one that he did get, it was huge, folks. Huge goal for Barcelona. Ended up being the deciding goal. Came a little bit earlier in the match, but it is what it is. Dembele, for me, is doing enough. Okay, I went through a whole phase of hating on Dembele, having... Where are we at here? Dembele cam, all right? For those of you that have been around for a while, we had this during all of last season where we could not celebrate Dembele. I retired it, or I shouldn't say retired. I temporarily put that on hold, okay? Because Dembele is in at the end of the first year of a 2-year contract. I guarantee you we will not enter into next year without an extension or a transfer from Dembele, okay? With all of that context, I appreciate what Dembele is doing for Barcelona. I appreciate his attitude. I appreciate the fact that he's hot and cold, but for a lot of the La Liga matches, he is showing up big. Again, Champions League is kind of a different story. World Cup is a different story. We don't need to talk about that. But for the La Liga matches for Barcelona, Dembele showing up. So, he gets the Barça box for representing the badge, for showing up in those big matches like I shared earlier. Dembele gets that Barça box, which leaves us with the mustache man of the match. And again, folks, few different candidates for this one. Could have been Gavi, could have been Dembele, could have been anybody from that back line, but there was one play in particular that comes to mind that gives it to none other than Araujo. Huge clearance off the line late in the match would have leveled things for Atletico Madrid, but Araujo was there. Ter Stegen was beaten. I thought it was a save from Ter Stegen at first, but replay showed it was Araujo tracking back, covering Morata. The awareness to pay attention to the deflected shot that fell to Atletico Madrid that was crossing the line if not for Araujo. So, for the defensive effort, for the clean sheet, and really just representing the back line as a whole, Araujo gets the mustache man of the match in the Barcelona 1-0 victory away from home. And that does it, my friends, for the good, the bad, and the Barça full match review. Let me know your thoughts. What did I get tongue-tied? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What would you change? What would be your good, your bad, your Barça, your mustache man of the match? Let's keep the conversation going. I'm going to turn to the chat, whether you're watching on TikTok or on YouTube. We'll keep the conversation going. And then if you're watching on replay, let me know down in the comments. We'll circle back. We'll keep the conversation going in the comments. The good, the bad, and the Barça, my friend. Let's see what we got here. Monty Edits, hello. Johnny Boy, what's up, my friend? I see we got some more of the Stash Squad coming in to join us. Let me hear your thoughts. Matinho saying Dembele is our best winger. Yes, I would have to agree with that. I think Memphis gives us something different. He's a little bit more goal-focused, I'll say. A little bit more of a pure finisher. But in terms of a best winger, yeah, probably. Simon says, John, what do you think about the Amazon Prime Barça show? It's a good promotional documentary for Barcelona. It's not really giving you the nitty-gritty behind the scenes, but it's a good promo. But good to see you, Simon. Good to see you. Joseph, how we doing? Says, what is the time there? Because it's late here. Only about 2:30. It's 2:26 p.m. So mid-afternoon here. Monty says, nah, Xavi needs time. Why settle for a measly trophy when we can have a super team? Missing the context on that one. Sorry. Frezzy, how we doing, sir? Hello, right back at you. Grimish says, what about Ter Stegen? Another clean sheet, what about Ter Stegen? Another clean performance. Yes, definitely shout out to Ter Stegen. Here's the thing, though. I've talked about this a little bit before. When we talk about the good, the bad, and the Barça, it's kind of graded on a curve. So the more clean sheets Ter Stegen gets, the harder it is for him to get in the boxes. I know that's a little bit unfair, but similarly, for our forwards, the more goals you score, the harder it is to get those boxes if it's not a match winner, if it's not a significant goal. You know what I mean? I try to use these awards to make sure that we're paying recognition to those that maybe don't get all the headlines, maybe don't get the biggest paychecks. Some of that factors in. So I felt a little bit bad going Araujo here. I almost went Christensen for the mustache man of the match. I was very close to that, but Araujo for that clearance, I think really deserved it. But I digress. All of this is graded with a curve. So Ter Stegen, don't mean to skip over him by any means. Huge performance for Barcelona. Ayush says, good would have been Dembele. Bad was Fati. Yeah, Fati probably could have been put in the bad box for his overall performance, if I'm fair. Barça, Araujo, and man of the match, Pedri. I don't know. I actually thought Pedri had kind of a slow match. I thought first half in particular, he wasn't too involved outside of creating the goal. Okay, so I don't mean to sound hypocritical. He did set that up. But I thought it was actually kind of a slow match for Pedri. Johnny boy, good to see you in here. Orlando, hello, says Araujo is our beast, the new Puyol. Calm down. As you can see, Puyol is back on my wall there. You gotta be careful with those comparisons. Yasir says we have to buy a world-class right back. Barcelona team will be complete Barcelona fan from Iraq. Well, welcome, Yasir. Glad to have you. I would like to bring in a more attack-minded, a more right wing-back-esque right back for Barcelona. That would be nice. However, at the same time, I'm totally cool with Koundé, Araujo, Christensen, and then you have Alonso and Eric rotating in there. But those three being the primary right side of our defense, Balde on the left has all the freedom in the world to join the attack. I don't hate that. I don't hate that whatsoever. It ends up being more of a three-back formation anyway. Dembele, Rafinha hangs back on the right-hand side. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. The Hat Kid says, Pedri made an Iniesta play in goal. Is it just me? Amen to that. Iniesta, if you look at his stats, does not compare to some of the other big names of his generation in terms of assists and goals. But what you may overlook is how Iniesta was consistently the one setting up the pass before the pass, okay? Turning defense into offense, beating the midfield lines before playing the ball forward, and then one more pass to the goal. That was Iniesta's role for more than a decade at Barcelona, and now we're seeing that for Pedri. It's very exciting to see him step up and start to create those opportunities, even if it's not the final assist or the goal. Pedri creating for Barcelona, creating on the attack, very important. Appreciate you bringing that up. Royson, what's up, brother? How we doing? Andre, how we doing? Says Fati is lacking confidence. That could be some of it for sure. Forza Barca says Fati has lost his performance. Oh, come on now. That's just a bit over the top. I wouldn't say that much. Ayu says Arsenal players similar to us. Ben White, a natural center back playing at right back, and Zinchenko pushing forward. Thank you very much. Yeah. Arteta, of course, coming from that lineage of Pep Guardiola, so you know all about that. Grimish says Fati lost his confidence after the World Cup. It's all in his head. I would say he never really regained it back after that last injury. I would go that far to say that Fati hasn't really come back yet. Just saying. Just saying, folks. Sahil, hello, says just a stat. Whenever Dembele scored, Barca have not lost. Okay. All right, interesting. Did not know that. Appreciate you dropping that stat. Monty says Fati needs consistent play time. I don't care whether that is with Barca or on loan, but it would be bad for Barca reputation to loan our number 10. Probably, yeah. Wouldn't be a good look if we had to loan out Ansu Fati at this point, but it might be necessary. I hate to say it, but it might be necessary. We'll see. Some other news to go over, I should say, before we wrap things up. This from Rashad Rahman. Breaking news, Al Nassr, after signing Ronaldo, is interested in Busquets, apparently offering him $13 million net for his yearly salary. Could be a good move for Busquets. I'm thinking it's going to be that or MLS. I love Busquets, but I'd rather we turn the page. I like what Xavi did, what Iniesta did, what Samuel Eto'o did, of stepping away from Barcelona before you're pushed away, like a Luis Suarez, like Dani Alves the first time around, that sort of thing. More Araujo news. Gets his Spanish passport today. That does open things up. So now Barcelona will have 3 non-EU spots open up, which does influence things. Sometimes this is something that people overlook. You can only have 3 players on the club registered that don't have an EU passport. You got to keep that in mind. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily from the EU, but that they can get a passport in one way or another, maybe either through heritage or through a professional passport. But we did talk a little bit about, or I should say, I just mentioned a little bit about Busquets potentially leaving and replacements. Here's a list from Transfer News Live of free agents in the next 6 months. Of course, Messi top of that list. Every sign is pointing to him renewing at PSG and breaking everybody's heart. So take Messi off of that. But if you look at this list, who jumps out at you as somebody that Barcelona should look at? Modric, of course, not going to happen. Benzema, Kroos. I can't believe all 3 of them are out of contract in the same year. That's pretty wild. Real Madrid, same position, looking to turn a page there. Tielemans would be one to look at. Jorginho and Kanté are also names linked with Barcelona. I think Kanté makes a lot more sense than Jorginho. Moukoko has been linked with Barcelona. Firmino might be one that's interesting. I would have loved to get him 3 or 4 years ago, but particularly if we lose a Memphis Depay, I think a Firmino could be interesting. Adama Traore, we've had. Bellerin is with us. Rabiot at PSG, formerly Juventus. I would be very curious about. Outside of that, maybe Skinnier, maybe center back. If Garcia doesn't really pan out for us, but a lot of free agents up for grabs. We'll see what happens here. Some of them are going to renew. Some of them are going to find new homes. Curious to see what Barcelona does. So I want to get your thoughts, of course. Maybe that's where we can keep the conversation going down in the comments. I'm going to wrap things up here. Oh, Rabiot is at Juve. Did I have that backwards? He was at PSG and then Juve. My bad. Anyway. Stay hydrated, folks. It's important. That is where I'm going to wrap things up. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me. Appreciate the conversation. Shout out to my stash mod, Ayush, for keeping things in order today. Shout out to the other stash mods watching on replay, I'm sure. And if you are watching on replay, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on the results, on the good, the bad, the Barca, and whatever else comes up, Barcelona-wise, okay? Other than that, folks, Wednesday, we'll do a Wake Up in Barca. It will be a match preview for our Supercopa match against Real Betis, which will be on Thursday. I'm not going to be able to do a live stream. Unfortunately, couldn't clear my calendar. Going to miss that one. I'll circle back with you afterwards. We'll do a full match review on Friday. But again, match preview will be Wednesday for Supercopa versus Real Betis. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you turn on notifications so you know when that stream is going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be earlier in the morning, but we'll see. Might end up being later in the day. Just depends on what my schedule ends up looking like. So, subscribe. turn on notifications, drop a like before you go. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you swipe over, click the link in the profile, gets you over to the Undefeated Mustache John YouTube channel, where you can join all of these fine folks. So I appreciate you very much. The whole Stash Squad, the Culés from around the world. I do appreciate you spending your time with me. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking a ride.